Hey guys, welcome to Heart to Talk, the podcast. I am the host and creator, Teresa Caesar. My intention for this podcast is to deliver to you wisdom, inspiration, and consciousness through solo episodes and conversations amongst insightful people. It is my greatest honor to bring to you talks that come from the heart. All right, y'all. I am so excited for this episode because we have back with us one of my most favorite guests, spiritual teachers. She's known as a modern day mystic, Janice Noehulani. Welcome back to Heart to Talk.
Thank you, Teresa. You know how I love to be here.
We are going to dive in and talk about how you can be a magnet for prosperity, abundance, overflow. Can we just start with just defining what it means to be a magnet for prosperity?
Absolutely. But, first I have to say, Teresa, that I know you as a magnetic, abundant, prosperous, amazing being, and who's been uplifting over and over again. And that right there is literally what being a magnet for prosperity is. I mean, you've got that beingness. And so within each and every single one of us, first, the most important thing is that we remember that. At the very core of who we are not just love, but we are prosperity. We are abundance. And it's time that we release the stress and the energy of the world and go back to our roots, go back to our soul to remember that for every single one of us. This is very important. And you are an incredible model for that, my dear. And don't you ever forget it.
Oh, thank you for that. I feel
You're
so
welcome.
honored, such a compliment. Prosperity is our birthright, no matter where we come from, who we are.
It is our birthright, and it is our cellular makeup. We are meant to be prosperous. And here's the difference between being a magnet for prosperity versus a money magnet. Money is just one aspect of prosperity. When you are thinking from that prosperous space, it hits all areas of your life. So let me give you a little example of this. When you think of being prosperous in community, for instance, almost everyone you know who's successful has become successful because of who they know. So when someone's just focused on money, I need to create this material wealth, and they don't get an opportunity to see the bigger picture of what prosperity is, sometimes the thing they need is right in front of their eyes and they can't see it, right? So that's the difference between becoming a magnet for prosperity. It fulfills all aspects of your life versus just money. Let me give you another example. So prosperity in love, for instance. I don't know about you, Teresa, but when I am getting that sweet loving, I feel like I can do anything. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
So powerful.
Right. All of us can. I mean, the things I can create when, I'm heterosexual. So when a good man is holding space for my fire, woo, girl, I'm not just creating for me. I'm creating for everyone around me. It's on fire. So that's the difference between being a money magnet and a magnet for prosperity.
I love that you described the difference between the two.
So here is the honest truth. Nothing is like linear and set in stone. We all manifest in a different way. And so, for instance, earth manifestors, they actually are one of the manifestors that can focus on material gain, and they can pull it to them really fast. Everyone manifests differently depending on their unique element.
Wow.
So that means that some people must speak their manifestations to life. Other people, like water manifestors, for instance, they absolutely have to focus on service. I'm one of them. I'm also an angelic manifestor. So that means that if I'm at all thinking about material gains, like I have to have $50,000 this month, it never has worked for me. But if I think I'm ready to serve 1,000 people this month in a big speech, or I'm ready to serve 20 individuals and just do it full out this month. If I do that, then flow just happens. And I get those people, I get the opportunities, and then my bank account will see it.
I love that. I've got another question for you.
Okay.
What are the common misconceptions about prosperity, such as equating it with materialism or greed?
Prosperity is about living in alignment with your values, your passions, and your authentic self. True prosperity is found when we cultivate a sense of gratitude, contentment, and inner richness, right? That transcends material possessions. And we've heard it so many times, like the things that we have will never make us truly happy. Actually, we see the exact opposite. People who have more tend to have more problems, right? They have more bills, they have more things they need to be responsible for. So the true definition of prosperity, again, we go back to, hits all aspects of your life, but mostly it's about creating personal fulfillment.
I love that. I love that. Explain how prosperity can benefit not only oneself, but others in the world at large.
So I got to be honest with you. I used to be dirt poor. I mean, when I was raising my daughter, me and my husband at the time, we were a family of three and we lived off of $400 a month. We lived in a little damn trailer. We washed our clothes. We were pretty much hippies. And we lived on the land. We did all those things and we lived off of so little. And I had a lot of ideas about the system and money and this and that, but I'm a Capricorn. So I have always had the entrepreneur in me. I've always been motivated by freedom. And the only thing that's ever brought freedom is being an entrepreneur, right? It's really hard for a person like me to do a 9-to-5er. So through time, even though it was like a real rustic little hippie, I had business after business after business after business. And when I began to create success, when I was more flush, I saw personally how I could give more. I could support people who are having a hard time. If someone called me up, they would say, Janice, this, that, and the other. And I'd be like, oh, baby, let me help you. And it was like no stress off my back, and then you see how that becomes circular. The more you give, the more you get, the more you give, the more you get. And then I became, sort of a role model for people who were, starting their business. And actually I do train people, especially in the spiritual communities, healers, light workers. I teach them how to have prosperous businesses. And when you are fluid, when you are flush, you can give more. Actually, one of my biggest goals is to be a philanthropist. I personally would love to give lots of money and get change makers to bring lots of money to helping our oceans. Like that's a big thing for me. And so when I'm prosperous, I actually see that could happen, right?
I love that.
I can do that. And not only that, but like, look, every person I know who is prosperous, they are creating jobs. They are the ones who are changing this world. And don't we need people to change this world? We need people who are people first, and more businesses who are flush, who are prosperous, who are living in these energetic, vibrational, positive energy of creation, right? They are starting to change the way we look at money, we look at business, and we look at people as not just commodities, but actually as a family creating something better here for not only us, but for our children and their children. So prosperity, being prosperous, not rejecting abundance and prosperity in all of its forms, so important for each and every single one of us. Like, we have to teach our children how to know the prosperity exists inside of them, right?
So that being said, can we segue into the energetics,
Ah,
including law of
please.
attraction, vibration, and how that like affects prosperity?
Yeah, absolutely. I have studied the law of attraction since I was 18. The thing is that most people have wrong with the law of attraction is that it's not really about being positive. Your feelings are incredibly important with the law of attraction. You don't want to suppress anything that's arising. Like, for instance, it's very difficult to attract wealth when at the core of you, you feel that people who are wealthy are slime bags, terrible. When you feel at the core that money is bad and is abusive, and that prosperity is for egotistical maniacs, when at the core, these are just examples, when at the core of you believe these things, your soul and your energy and your being will stop you from being prosperous in certain ways. So you can heal those undercurrents in your unconscious and subconscious. This is the time to alchemize your feelings. That's why you see a huge uptake in people learning about their emotional intelligence, creating emotional regulation courses. And because this is incredibly important, not only for our own peace of mind, but for being in alignment with our vibrational energy. So each and every one of us has a very unique code, if you will, like blueprint, vibrational makeup for prosperity, abundance, joy. And when you have these like deep-seated emotions that keep you from that, when you have these stories and belief systems that are plugged into something different from that vibration, it's harder to attain, right? A lot of those emotions, a lot of those belief systems, a lot of those feelings, that undercurrent of what I'm talking about that keep us from actually attracting what it is that we are meant to have in our life, have often been handed down from ancestors to ancestors. I mean, there's scientific proof right now that we get information passed down from us for 14 generations. That's 350 years
That's
approximately.
crazy.
Right. And look, our ancestors are survivors. They've dealt with famine, they've dealt with wars, they've dealt with abuse, slavery. I mean, you name it. And that is handed down to us in our cells and our DNA and in our RNA. And that often carries that emotional baggage that literally keeps us from what we want. But also there's a lot of prosperity. There's a lot of joy. There's a lot of love in our ancestors, right? In every single one of us, no matter who you came from, there are healed ancestors
That's true,
that
right?
that want to help us. So back to the law of attraction. Again, it's a lot of people do have it wrong because it's not really about being positive for positivity's sake. It's not about, you're not always doing something wrong. But what you definitely have to do, the doorway to the law of attraction, is to sit with the feelings that arise and integrate them, alchemize them, and guide them to a place of healing. So then you can honor the truth of you, which is, again, that you are prosperity, you are love, you are these things, and your cells can then begin to receive that information and then naturally attract that energy toward you.
I love that. I love that.
So
So, what are some practical tips for raising one's energetic vibration to prosperity?
So I'm going to give you a really practical, powerful breathing technique. I want to say something before we do this exercise. Your energy might align better with the word prosperity. For others, it'll align better with the word abundance. And others will align better with the word wealth. And you want to notice what is the word that feels more grounded and feels more magnetic, or, it has like a vibration to it that draws you in. So all I want you to do is I just want you to take a deep breath in and think, I am wealth. And breathe out, I am wealth. Breathe in, I am abundance. Breathe out, I am abundance. Breathe in, I am in overflow. Breathe out, I am overflow. Breathe in, I am prosperity. Breathe out, I am prosperity. And one more time, the word that was yours, the word that turned you on. So breathe in with that word, I am. And then breathe out, I am. Sorry, just one more time. Breathe in, I am. Breathe out, I am. And for those who are doing this on this call, do it a few more times. That word that lights you up. If you're not feeling it yet, Teresa, your body should be tingling, which is like a vibrational shift of receiving, right? It's the awakening and the awareness of the I am presence.
I love it.
So important. And anchoring it with your breath, connecting it with your body, bringing faith and belief in this is so important.
Then you can become a magnet for prosperity. Is it wealth, abundance, whatever your word is, right?
Yeah, totally. And again, the work that I do with people is literally helping people connect, like release what's keeping them from remembering their energetic blueprint of prosperity, abundance, and so then they can actually begin to own those parts of them even more. When you do that on a cellular level, what you want begins to chase you down.
Wow, that's powerful. Tell us about how we can work with you, any upcoming programs, Instagram. Tell us everything. We want to stay connected to, because you give away golden nuggets.
Thank you so much for asking. So I had this program that was an invite-only program with a bunch of ballers. It was like 20 different people who were incredible, all the way from people who were just starting their business to multimillionaires were on that call. And it's a program called Money Flow. And on that program, it's a 3-day, recorded live event. And everyone who took that program had a money breakthrough. This program will help you own your signature blueprint, your vibrational prosperity, and everyone's is unique and different. So that's what that course is. It's called Money Flow. In there, there's different options to purchase. And by the way, these prices are so inexpensive. And so this is sort of my gift to the world.
I will drop the link to your program. It's special price if you listen to this podcast. And also Janice's website and Instagram handle. Per tradition, Janice, we're going to close it up. And I'm going to ask you the ending questions. The first one, what are your favorite affirmations for attracting prosperity?
I'm going to give you a money one because it's really great. Yeah, it's money loves me. Money loves me.
I love
I
it.
love how that feels.
I know
Doesn't it
money
feel good?
loves me. I'm going to date money. I'm going to take money out on a date.
That's right. Money loves me, and I love money.
Oh,
It's a great one. I love it.
I love that. Okay. And the last question, Janice, what is one of your favorite books on prosperity and money?
I really like this book called A Happy Pocket Full of Money: Infinite Wealth and Abundance in the Here and Now. And it's written by David Cameron Gikandi.
Before we close out this episode, is there any last words, thoughts, mantras?
Yeah, I just want to say that take a breath, slow down enough to ignite the truth of who you are. Remember that you're meant to be prosperous. You're meant to be loved. And at the core of you, you are both of those. No matter where you've come from, no matter what your history, no matter what happened yesterday, it doesn't matter. You are prosperous and you are loved and you are love.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Please download, rate, subscribe, and share this podcast. Also, be sure to visit my website at teresacaesar.com to check out my inspirational merch, connect to my social accounts, and much more. May you continue to be filled with wisdom, inspiration, and consciousness. Otherwise, friends, I will be back in 2 weeks for another episode of Heart to Talk.